Since day one, I've been religious. Knowing the Lord has been there has given me a sense of I'm not alone, knowing He won't give you what you can't handle. Hi, this is Nicole LePine, and I'm her mom, Kim. On June 1st, 2016, Nicole had a massive basal ganglia stroke. My parents called the ambulance, and I was flown to Winnipeg Hospital. 5 days later, I was flown to Thunder Bay Regional Hospital to be closer to family. Many visitors and rooms later, I was transferred to St. Joseph's Hospital in Thunder Bay. I was on the 5th floor, and then not long after, I went to the 3rd floor for therapy. At this time, I had no way of communicating. My speech pathologist had a goal of getting me heard, and that's what he did. With a communication board, I could tell my parents my needs. Early July, I stood up using a standing frame. Later that month, I began using my phone again, which I could type on it what I wanted, such as a pillow fixed or something about my meds. 2 months post-stroke, I could finally touch my face with my right hand. The smallest steps were huge for me. Beginning in August, I began to use a pivot disc. Pretty much it's a metal disc with handles, and it spun for me. Mid-August was a huge milestone. I took my first steps. It wasn't perfect. I was suspended from a ceiling in a diaper-like thing. They put towels around my thighs to make them fit. I had an AFO on my left foot to keep it at 90 degrees, and a curling slider to help it slide. A high forearm walker, someone controlling the walker, someone moving my left foot, and someone coaching me while other clients cheered me on. At the end of August, I got more tubes out and decreased my medication. September was different for us. My dad went home, and my mom and I flew to more intensive therapy in Hamilton, going from visitors every day to no one except for family once in a while. Luckily, my dad's sister only lived an hour away, so my aunt and uncle came every weekend. We did a lot together, going to Niagara Falls, Royal Botanical Gardens, going to waterfalls, or staying in and playing cards. I had a personal therapy assistant with me most of the day. We began water therapy with a physiotherapist and my mom. I loved getting back in the water, and the water had no gravity, making it easier to walk. November 10th was a most important day. I had my first meal. Pureed chicken, peas, and mashed potatoes. I was so excited to have my first official meal. Supper was joined by breakfast, then lunch too. Mid-December, we began our trek home. We arrived back at St. Joseph's Hospital. The next day, I was tested on fluids and passed with slightly thickened fluids. This was going to be my first going home since my stroke, and I was so excited. I was home for Christmas, I was discharged for 11 days. I spent most of the time with family, friends, or relaxing. My mom went back to work, and my dad went back to the hospital with me in Thunder Bay. This time I was more independent, eating on my own, getting to therapy on time, and making plans with friends. Every night you could find me watching a movie, coloring in the dining room, or hanging out with nurses. The end of January, I was on a mince diet. My food was actually not blended. 5 days later, we were walking with a regular 2-wheel walker instead of a high forearm walker. February 1st, I had my PEG tube, or the tube going straight to my stomach, was removed. Mid-February, I tried a cane and rocked it. Beginning in March, I moved up again and was tried on soft chopped food. March 19th, I was discharged from the hospital and moved to my aunt's house in Thunder Bay to do 7 weeks of outpatient therapy. Those 7 weeks absolutely flew by, and the next thing you know, it was May 5th and I was moving home. After 11 months, I was finally back home with my parents, dog, friends, and I was beyond happy to be back home, but I had still much work to do. Both my parents were working, so we chose to hire someone. Luckily, a close friend, Cassidy, stepped up. I was already comfortable with her, which made it easier. The summer at home started, and I quickly approved to do therapy at the hospital. Our 5 months absolutely flew by, but we made the best of it. We went to War Road, Minnesota to surprise a friend's class. June, we went to Winnipeg to see a Tim McGraw and Faith Hill concert. July, we went to church camp, which I've been part of for 8 years. And in August, I turned 20 and we went to the emo fair. In September, it was sad when Cassidy had to go back to school. In September, I also went to a Sam Hunt concert with my brother's girlfriend. I started an online college course in palliative care. I've been steady crafting, which I absolutely love. I keep my hands busy and find it extremely calming. I try to visit my aunt in Raineycrest, where I previously worked. The day I suffered the imaginable, I had many prayer groups praying for my recovery, and that kept me alive. I had a slim chance of living, but the power of prayer and God had different plans. God thought, I'm not done with her yet. Through this journey, I'm happy that I've had a great outcome. With the forgiving strength of my parents and family, I've persevered. Sometimes I ask God, why me? But I know He always has a plan, a foolproof plan. He thinks everything out before it happens. It may be a fork in the road. It completely changes our life like mine. Whether good or bad, God can change your life. I've lost many friends, but I've made friends with people that are lifelong. Strengthened some friendships, and I'm forever thankful for those friends, for those people. They see me as Nicole. I just need more help. I've been given the gift of being optimistic, and I sure use that gift. I look at the situation and smile. I try to always be happy so others can see me and think, if she's happy, I can be happy. You were given one life to live it. I was lucky enough to have a second chance. Be thankful of your life that God has given you.